The excitement for the haves and the have-nots being available on Tubi has been, well, it's been hard to ignore, and that's a good thing because a lot of fans have been saying, man, I haven't been able to catch the show since it was on Hulu a while back, or yeah, I just haven't been able to find it anywhere. It's like I wasn't paying for this streaming service, that streaming service, but it's on Tubi. Yeah, some people aren't crazy about commercials, but hey, I mean, whatever. At least you get to see the complete series at your own pace. Now, a couple people hit me up about, I was like, man, either I didn't watch the show in its entirety because I fell into it, during the later seasons, or, I haven't watched it in so long I forgot. But how long until the show, quote unquote, jumps the shark? So that was an interesting conversation I had over the weekend with a couple of people now. But now talk about the series, that I usually just highlight the first few seasons. I mean, because to be completely honest, and I stand by what I said years ago, if you take the first season of the haves and the have-nots alone and compare it to all of the shows during the Viacom era, I think it goes without saying that the haves and the have-nots is better than any season of Sisters, The Oval, Ruthless, Zatima, Bruh, the House of Pain reboot, Assisted Living. So what? That's 7 shows by itself. I mean, in terms of just fanfare and hype in general, even though I personally wouldn't put it in the same category, Beauty in Black is like the first show I've seen insane hype for to the levels of the haves and the have-nots. Now, don't get me wrong. Zatima season 1 went crazy as well, but I think that the show already had a fan base from Sisters that transferred over, and Beauty in Black was on a much bigger platform than BET Plus, being Netflix. But the haves and the have-nots, that was just a show put on a random, add-on, the OWN network, and it did records. So I think the haves and the have-nots definitely deserves its flowers. But yeah, I'd say that the show really kind of fell off, and I don't mean in a bad way. I think those last couple seasons is when it really fell off, but ratings were still high, don't get me wrong. But in terms of the quality, as soon as If Loving You Is Wrong was created, that's when the pacing of the haves and the have-nots definitely came to a screeching halt. That's when things really dragged out, and a lot of the apparent issues in the Tyler Perry BET shows kind of started around that point of the haves and the have-nots. It's when he was doing way too much by himself, and as a result, the material suffered. Like, yeah, it's way better when he only has 2 shows on the table, but when he starts to add on a few more, like when he's doing 6 things by himself and he's writing and producing every single thing, that's when you get a whole bunch of mediocre material. So I'd highly recommend checking out the first 2 to 4 seasons. I think, what was it, at the end of season 5 or 6 when Wyatt shot at Catherine and Jim? That was truly the beginning of the end, in my personal opinion. I think it was the end of season 6, because then seasons got really shorter, and then they added in like 50 new characters who literally served no meaningful purpose. And as a result, the show just kind of went out on a whimper. But it had a hell of a start, though. It's kind of funny, though, when you think about a lot of, popular sitcoms. I'm thinking like Parks and Rec. People often tell me, oh, that first season, don't just skip it. Season 2 is when it gets good. Or That 70s Show. Man, the show was good up until that final season. Same with The Office. But when it comes to, black sitcoms, I'm thinking like Living Single. It was good all the way until like the final season when Kyle and Regine left, and then Family Matters when, they jumped the shark like more times than I can count. But yeah, when it comes down to it, the haves and the have-nots, if you've never watched the show, watch season 1. Watch season 1. And I'm willing to bet within the first few episodes you will be hooked. And if you have not watched the show in a long time, watch that first season. I think this is a great palate cleanser in case you are just kind of fed up, like, oh, the stuff we're getting on BET is mediocre. Tyler Perry shows don't hit like they used to. Rewatch the first season of the Haves and Have-Nots. Because it's been over. The show came out in 2013. So it's been going on 12 years since it debuted. Rewatch the first season and tell me it doesn't make you go, no wonder Jeremy is so mad at a lot of the current Tyler Perry shows, because they don't measure up to what we used to get when he took the time to make quality content. I feel like if you watched even just a handful of episodes, you'd have a better understanding of the way I feel about his content now, because this show is the one that got me started on YouTube in the first place. So keep that in mind. Come back to this video if you take my advice and go watch some Haves and Have Not content. If you watch it and you're blown away, just come back and let me know in the comments. Say, Jeremy, I get it. You were right. There you go. All right. Well, hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.